Hey everyone, welcome back to Great Audiobook Library. Today, we're diving into the powerful world of habits with James Clear's best-selling book, Atomic Habits. This book is a game changer if you're looking to build good habits, break bad ones, and make remarkable changes in your life. So, let's get started. Atomic Habits is all about understanding how tiny changes can lead to remarkable results. James Clear introduces us to the concept of atomic habits, which are small, easy-to-do actions that compound over time to produce significant outcomes. Let's break down the core ideas of the book. The power of tiny habits. Let's start with the power of tiny habits. James Clear emphasizes that tiny, incremental changes can lead to significant results over time. This concept is rooted in the idea of compound growth. Small habits, when repeated consistently, build up and lead to remarkable transformations. Clear uses several stories and examples to illustrate this. One powerful story is about the British cycling team. For many years, British cyclists were known for their mediocrity. They hadn't won a single Tour de France in over a century. Then, in 2003, Dave Brailsford was hired as the new performance director. Brailsford introduced a concept he called the aggregation of marginal gains. He believed that if they could improve every area related to cycling by just 1%, those small gains would add up to a significant overall improvement. Brailsford and his team made tiny changes, such as adjusting the bike seats for more comfort, using biofeedback sensors to monitor athletes, and even teaching riders the best way to wash their hands to avoid infections. These small improvements led to a series of remarkable achievements. Within 5 years, the British cycling team won 60% of the gold medals available at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. In 2012, they dominated again at the London Olympics, and from 2012 to 2018, British cyclists won 5 Tour de France titles. This story highlights how tiny changes, often overlooked and seemingly insignificant on their own, can lead to extraordinary outcomes when combined and applied consistently over time. Another compelling example is the Japanese concept of Kaizen, which means continuous improvement. After World War II, Japan adopted this philosophy in its rebuilding efforts. Companies like Toyota used Kaizen to improve their manufacturing processes. Workers at every level were encouraged to make small, incremental changes to enhance efficiency and quality. Over time, these tiny improvements accumulated, making Toyota one of the most efficient and successful car manufacturers in the world. These stories illustrate that you don't need to make drastic changes to see significant results. Instead, focus on making small, manageable changes and stick with them. The key is consistency and patience. Over time, these tiny habits will compound, leading to substantial improvements and success. Clear also uses the analogy of an ice cube. Imagine an ice cube sitting in a room that's 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Gradually, the room begins to heat up. At first, nothing seems to happen as the temperature rises from 26 degrees to 27, then 28, 29, and so on. But when the room hits 32 degrees, the ice cube begins to melt. This change didn't happen all at once. It was the result of small, incremental increases in temperature. This is how habits work. You might not see immediate results, but with consistent effort, the impact becomes visible over time. Remember, the power of tiny habits lies in their ability to compound. Focus on small improvements every day, and you'll be amazed at the transformation over time. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the other concepts from Atomic Habits that will help you build and sustain these powerful changes. The 4 laws of behavior change. Next, let's explore the 4 laws of behavior change. These laws are the foundation of James Clear's method for building good habits and breaking bad ones. The 4 laws are: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Let's dive into each one with some stories from the book. First up, make it obvious. Clear emphasizes the importance of cues in our environment that trigger our habits. By making the cues for your desired habits obvious, you can significantly increase the likelihood of sticking to them. Clear shares a story about a woman who struggled to remember to take her medication. She decided to place her medication next to her toothbrush, which she used every morning. By linking her new habit to an existing one and making the cue obvious, she was able to remember to take her medication consistently. Clear also introduces the concept of habit stacking, where you tie a new habit to an existing one. For instance, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. This makes the cue clear and tied to a habit you already do, making it easier to remember and follow through. Next is make it attractive. We are more likely to perform a habit if we find it appealing. Clear suggests using a strategy called temptation bundling to pair an action you need to do with an action you want to do. For instance, Clear tells the story of a man who wanted to exercise more but loved watching Netflix. He set up his stationary bike in front of the TV and allowed himself to watch Netflix only while he was cycling. This made exercising more attractive and enjoyable. Another example could be listening to your favorite music or podcast only while doing household chores. By making the habit more attractive, you create a positive association that encourages you to stick with it. Third, make it easy. The easier a habit is to start, the more likely you are to follow through. Clear recommends reducing the friction associated with good habits and increasing the friction for bad ones. Clear shares a story about a man who wanted to build the habit of flossing. Instead of aiming to floss all his teeth, he committed to flossing just one tooth each night. By making the habit incredibly easy, he was able to overcome the initial resistance and gradually floss all his teeth. Clear also introduces the 2-minute rule, which states that any habit can be started in 2 minutes or less. For example, if you want to read more, start by reading 1 page. If you want to run, put on your running shoes. These small actions lower the barrier to starting and help build momentum. Finally, make it satisfying. We are more likely to repeat a behavior if it feels rewarding. Clear suggests using immediate rewards to reinforce your habits. One effective method is using a habit tracker. Clear tells the story of Benjamin Franklin, who kept a daily journal to track his progress on various habits. Each time he completed a habit, he marked it in his journal. This simple act of checking off a task provided a sense of accomplishment and motivated him to keep going. Giving yourself a small treat or reward after completing a task. This could be as simple as enjoying a piece of chocolate after a workout or taking a relaxing bath after a productive day. The key is to make the reward immediate and satisfying. So there you have it, the 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. By applying these principles, you can design your environment and routines to support the habits you want to build and eliminate those you want to break. The habit loop. Now, let's talk about the habit loop, a core concept in Atomic Habits. The habit loop consists of 4 stages: cue, craving, response, and reward. Understanding this loop is crucial for building new habits and breaking bad ones. The first stage is the cue. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. It's a piece of information that predicts a reward. Clear emphasizes that cues can be anything from a specific time of day, an emotional state, or a particular place. Clear shares a story about a woman who wanted to build the habit of brushing her teeth consistently. Her cue was feeling the morning breath when she woke up. This sensation prompted her to brush her teeth, starting her day on a fresh note. Common cues include waking up, coming home from work, or feeling stressed. Recognizing these cues helps you understand what triggers your habits. Next is craving. Cravings are the motivational force behind every habit. Without some level of desire or craving, we have no reason to act. Cravings differ from person to person, but they all drive us toward the change we seek. Clear gives the example of the smell of cookies baking in the oven. The cue, smell of cookies, creates a craving for the sweet taste and satisfaction of eating them. This craving motivates you to get up and grab a cookie. Cravings can be a desire for comfort, relaxation, or social interaction. By understanding your cravings, you can better align your habits to satisfy them in healthy ways. The third stage is response. This is the actual behavior you perform, which can take the form of a thought or an action. Your ability to perform the response depends on the amount of friction associated with the behavior and your level of motivation. For instance, Clear talks about how he wanted to floss regularly. Initially, he found it difficult to remember to floss after brushing his teeth. To reduce friction, he placed the floss next to his toothbrush and made the habit so easy by committing to floss just one tooth. This simple change made the response easier to execute. By making your desired response as easy as possible, you increase the likelihood of following through. This is where the 2-minute rule comes in handy. Any habit can be started in 2 minutes or less. The final stage is the reward. Rewards are the end goal of every habit. They satisfy your craving and teach your brain that the behavior is worth remembering in the future. The immediate satisfaction reinforces the habit loop. Clear shares the story of how he used a habit tracker to reinforce his gym routine. Each time he completed a workout, he marked it on his calendar. This simple act provided an immediate sense of accomplishment and satisfaction, reinforcing the habit. Rewards can be intrinsic, like the feeling of accomplishment, or extrinsic, like a treat or a small gift. The key is to ensure the reward is satisfying enough to reinforce the behavior. Understanding the habit loop, cue, craving, response, and reward helps you design effective habits and break unwanted ones. By identifying and tweaking each stage, you can create a sustainable system for personal growth and improvement. So, the next time you want to build a new habit, start by identifying the cue, understand your craving, make the response easy, and ensure the reward is satisfying. This loop will help you make lasting changes. Identity-based habits. Now, let's explore the concept of identity-based habits, one of the most profound ideas in Atomic Habits. James Clear argues that the key to building lasting habits is to focus on who you want to become rather than what you want to achieve. First, let's understand the shift from outcome-based goals to identity-based habits. Most people set goals like, I want to lose weight, or I want to run a marathon. These are outcome-based goals. Instead, Clear suggests focusing on identity, such as, I want to become a healthy person, or I want to become a runner. This shift in focus helps you adopt the habits of the type of person you want to become. One compelling story Clear shares is about two photographers. One wanted to become a world-class photographer and set outcome-based goals for himself. The other simply focused on being someone who takes photos every day. The second photographer, by focusing on his identity and consistently practicing, ended up improving more and achieving greater success. By adopting an identity-based approach, your habits become a part of who you are, rather than something you have to do. For example, instead of saying, I want to read more, you say, I am a reader. This subtle shift changes how you see yourself and influences your actions to align with that identity. Next, let's talk about the power of belief in shaping your identity. Clear tells the story of a woman who struggled with smoking. She had tried to quit multiple times using various methods, but it wasn't until she changed her self-perception that she succeeded. Instead of seeing herself as a smoker trying to quit, she started to see herself as a non-smoker. This shift in identity helped her to finally break free from her habit. Believing in your new identity is crucial. Start by making small, incremental changes that align with the person you want to become. Each small win reinforces your new identity and builds momentum. Clear also shares his own story of transformation. After a serious injury in high school, he had to rebuild his life and identity from scratch. He started with small habits, like going to the gym regularly. Over time, these small habits compounded, and he started to see himself as someone who values health and fitness. This identity shift was key to his long-term success. The cycle of habit formation starts with a small action that aligns with your desired identity. For example, if you want to become a writer, start by writing one sentence each day. As you consistently perform this action, it reinforces your identity as a writer, making it easier to stick with and build upon. Let's see how you can put identity-based habits into practice. Start by asking yourself, who is the type of person that could get the outcome I want? Then, take small steps to embody that identity. For instance, if you want to become fit, think about what a fit person would do. They might choose to walk instead of drive, opt for healthy meals, and exercise regularly. Clear also shares a story about a man who wanted a cleaner home. Instead of setting a goal to clean his home, he asked himself, what would a tidy person do? This mindset shift led him to adopt habits like tidying up for a few minutes each day and putting things away immediately after using them. Over time, his home became consistently clean, and he saw himself as a tidy person. Remember, the key to lasting change is to focus on becoming the type of person who can achieve your goals. By shifting your focus to your identity, you create habits that are sustainable and deeply rooted in who you are. Embrace the power of identity-based habits and watch as your actions align with your new self-image, the Plateau of Latent Potential. Now, let's discuss the Plateau of Latent Potential, a crucial concept in atomic habits that explains why we often feel discouraged when progress seems slow. James Clear argues that habits often don't give immediate results, and understanding this can help you stay motivated. Clear describes the plateau of latent potential using the analogy of an iceberg. Just like most of an iceberg's mass is hidden beneath the surface, the results of your habits are often hidden in the early stages. It's easy to overlook these small changes because we can't see immediate benefits, but they are accumulating beneath the surface. One of the most powerful stories Clear shares is about the bamboo tree. When a bamboo seed is planted, it requires constant nurturing with water, fertile soil, and sunlight. For the first few years, you see no visible growth. But then, one day, the bamboo suddenly shoots up and grows 90 feet within 6 weeks. This dramatic growth is only possible because of the years of invisible development and root growth beneath the surface. This story illustrates the power of patience and persistence. The initial stages of habit formation can be frustrating because you don't see immediate results. However, just like the bamboo tree, your efforts are not wasted. They're building a foundation for future growth. Clear also introduces the concept of the valley of disappointment. This is the phase where you're putting in the effort but seeing little to no progress. It's a critical period where many people give up on their goals, believing their efforts are futile. Clear shares the story of a friend who started a business. In the beginning, despite working long hours, there were few sales and little recognition. It felt like all the effort was for nothing, but he persisted, and after a few years, the business started to take off. The early, unseen efforts eventually led to exponential growth and success. The key takeaway here is to understand that progress is often non-linear. You might feel stuck in the valley of disappointment, but if you continue to put in consistent effort, you will eventually break through and see the results of your hard work. Clear also shares his personal journey as a writer. For years, he wrote articles and posted them online with minimal readership. But he kept writing, improving his skills, and growing his audience bit by bit. Eventually, his blog gained significant traction, leading to book deals and speaking opportunities. This breakthrough was the result of years of consistent, unseen effort. The Plateau of Latent Potential teaches us that significant change takes time and persistence. Remember, the journey to building lasting habits and achieving remarkable results is often slow and steady. Embrace the plateau of latent potential and trust that your consistent efforts will eventually lead to a breakthrough. Stay patient, stay consistent, and keep pushing forward. So, there you have it. A deep dive into James Clear's Atomic Habits. If you enjoyed this summary and found it helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, The Great Audiobook Library, for more insightful content. And if you want to dive deeper, I highly recommend grabbing a copy of Atomic Habits. The link to this book is in the description box. Thanks for watching, and remember, small changes can lead to remarkable results.